Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I'll tell you who's coming up on this week's show here in just a couple of minutes. But first, I want to thank you for being along with us on a chilly and windy Wednesday morning. Pat Johnson's in the studio with me here. We were talking about a conversation I had on the show here a few weeks ago with Michigan's meteorologist, Mark Torregrossa, and he was talking about a weather roller coaster. We certainly are seeing it, aren't we? Good morning, Carl. Good morning, Cliff. Good morning, John. Checking in from fisheries class. John, does your instructor / professor know that you're online right now and cruising social media? But he should allow you, or she should allow you to do it for this purpose, right? Rick, nice to have you along with us. Good morning to you as well. Hello, Rob. How are you this morning? Always a pleasure. I recognize that name for sure. Kevin says, good morning, Mike. The door's open here, so I have to be a little bit. Oh, Pat's going to close it. Oh, you're working on an assignment, so it's good. Trolling bite for walleye on Lake St. Clair is on fire. 10 to 12 feet of water in front of the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club. Trolling bandits. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. Saginaw Bay is on fire right now, too. Lost Glove Farms. Good morning. Mark, good morning. Spider Lake starting to see a little ice. Jim says, funny who you meet at a car wash last week. Jim, I don't remember. Did we say hi? I'm sorry. Wow, I must be getting old. Anyway, Cap, nice to have you along with us. Yeah, I got myself a membership to that car wash. $30 for the month, so I go in there every day, just about every day. So it's like $1 a wash. Did we talk, Jim? Honestly, I'm drawing a blank here, and I'm embarrassed to say that. Wow. You can keep that ice there, Bill. And Cap, you should be out on Saginaw Bay right now. Cliff says, with Dixie Dave retiring, will he still be on your radio show? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's just retiring from the restaurant. He's not retiring from this radio show. I won't allow him to do that. There's only one way to retire from this show, and that is to die. And that's kind of the philosophy I'm going to take as well. So, it's kind of a hard way to go. And maybe morbid for some of you, not for me. But no. Which reminds me, next Wednesday night, talking about Dave retiring, we're going to do one final Wednesday night live at Oscar and Joey's Roadhouse. That's next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I would encourage you to make your reservations for 6:15-ish, 6:30-ish. Call 989-624-9349 for reservations. Jim, I didn't even realize that was you. I'm so sorry. If I apologize. I'm embarrassed. I didn't realize that was you. Mad Jack says, I made his daughter's day when I posted that pic. That was a nice pic. Thank you for that. And thank you for showing the Wraith blind in there as well. Jason checking in from the Ford Dearborn Truck Plant. Good morning, Amy. How are you? My name is Mike Avery. This is another edition of Behind the Mic here, live from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. What day is it? Mike, what day is it? I've just blown your speakers out. It's hump day. Now everybody in the building knows what day it is. I'm here in the studios of WSGW in Saginaw. This is where I record the Outdoor Magazine radio show each week, and I'm actually glad to be inside this morning. I wouldn't want to be outdoors this morning. Certainly wouldn't want to be on the big water. Certainly wouldn't want to be, I think, on any water because it's going to be too windy to fish. And I don't think I'd want to be in a deer blind this morning anyway, either. Good morning, Marty. How are you? Angie, how are you? She's making the dough there at Pizza Sam's. Angie, are you and Gus going to be able to join us for Wednesday Night Live? I'm not trying to shame or force or anything like that. You and they're going, but I thought Gus said something about he was going to try to make it. Amy is from Saginaw, but she lives in Nashville now. What's it like, Amy, to live in Nashville? I know it's an interesting city to visit. a fun city to visit. How is it to live there? Gonna try. Excellent. Jerry, good morning. How are you? Yeah, the wind gusts have been crazy. Jim, I am still absolutely embarrassed that I wasn't putting two and two together last week. I apologize for that. I'm embarrassed by that. And if I wasn't as friendly as I should have been, I apologize for that as well. A lot of apologies this morning, I guess. Let me tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. First, Lieutenant Jason Wickland from the DNR talking about the fact it's amazing, but housing is expensive, a beautiful state to live in. Okay, that's probably what I would have expected, Amy. Well, I appreciate you joining us from Nashville. Say hi to Blake. If you see Blake running around there, say hi to Blake for me if you would. Thanks, Jim, for your understanding. That's very gracious of you. Next time, hit me upside of the head, will you? Go, Avery. Yeah. Hello, Mike. How are you? So anyway, tomorrow is the first day of December. What does that mean? Well, it means Advent. It means Christmas is just around the corner. It also means the Michigan firearm deer season is over. You didn't happen to hear that, did you, Pat?
Despite the door closed, we can still hear it.
Pat said the door was closed, but they could still hear me. Good morning, Cap. How are you? James, nice to have you along with us. Tell me seriously, Pat, if it gets to be obnoxious, I'll quit it. You were listening for it.
Yeah, I was.
So anyway, the firearm deer season closes tonight a half hour after sunset, if anybody's going to be out there in the wind. But for all practical purposes, the Michigan firearm deer season continues, and Lieutenant Jason Wickland will talk about that. In the southern part of the state and a few counties right on the line, Midland County being one of them, where I hunt, you can hunt with a centerfire rifle right on through the muzzleloader season. So it's not really a muzzleloader season anymore. It's an extension of the firearm deer season. Then after that, the late doe season allows hunters in much of the state to continue on to, I don't know what part of the month, again with a centerfire rifle. So I will be hunting deer, trying to put a big doe down, still unsuccessfully, from November 15th for about a month with a centerfire rifle and doing it legally. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, Lieutenant Jason Wickland will talk about that. At the end of the hour, Captain Jason Graham of Send It Charters out of Linwood Beach Marina will join me to talk briefly about the tremendous late season walleye fishing on Saginaw Bay right now. It drives me crazy. I'm out there all summer long chasing 15 to 18-inch fish. The people who are tough enough to be out there right now are catching 5, 6, 7, 8-pound fish. They're also getting them in the rivers. Now, that's something that has my attention. I used to be a river rat. I don't really have a river boat anymore, but there are some spots you can reach those fish from the shore, and I'm thinking pretty seriously about trying that. In our second hour, speaking of fishing, great late fall, early winter fishing opportunities. Good morning, Jeff. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Good morning, David. How you been feeling, buddy? Eric Skeeter Beckman will be joining me. Now, you might know Skeeter's name from Brenton. He's a Brenton guy, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But also, primarily, I want to talk with him about whitefish fishing on both the east side of the state and the west side of the state on the pier heads right now. The whitefish come in to spawn, and they are an easy target. Hey, Ross, how are you, buddy?
Okay, we're good.
Ross from Linwood Beach. Are you related to Tom? Anyway, Ross says he's starting to get really excited for next weekend. His 13-year-old, oh my gosh. His 13-year-old daughter drew a Michigan bull elk tag. Now, Ross, I know that at 13, she hasn't been applying for 20 years like a lot of us have, and she drew a bull elk tag. That is so cool. Please send me the picture of her sitting over that big bull so I can post it on the page, and congrats to you and her, and good luck on that hunt. Anyway, we'll be talking about whitefish fishing. Then Nick Green of MUCC joins us. I don't know what Nick's got in mind, but he'll bring us up to speed on what's going on in Lansing. And at the end of the hour, the Ask Avery segment, I'm addressing the question about how does an older hunter get into deer hunting. Lori, good morning. Haven't heard from you in a while. How have you been? Um, and he says, Avery, these videos I see on YouTube, it's all these young 30-year-old buff guys hunting at 30 feet in the air out of a tree saddle. He said he's not willing to do that anymore. I, Avery, am not willing to do that either. So this is a topic I am fairly well versed in. How do you get started hunting from a ground blind with a crossbow? He's looking for some advice and some tips, and I will give my suggestions for that. And then in our third hour, a name in the outdoors of Michigan, in fact, the Michigan outdoors, Gabe Van Wormer. Ross says, yeah, she quite a year, killed her first deer earlier in the fall, and now she's going bull elk hunting. That is so cool. Gabe's going to talk about hunting the late season. Gabe is a hardcore whitetail hunter. He's a handgun hunter as well. We'll talk about that. He made a trip out to Kansas. Want to know how that went. And he's an expert when it comes to telling stories on video. He's also a videographer for Fishing 411 TV. So we got a lot to talk about there. Good morning, Scott. How are you? And of course, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. One more time, 1 week from today, Wednesday, December 7th, at Oscar and Joey's, 7 o'clock. We're going to do our last Wednesday night live from Dixie Dave's restaurant before he retires. We still have a few openings for that. Call 989-624-9349 for reservations. You don't need tickets. There is no cost, but you're going to have to pay for your own meal. I'm not buying you dinner. We will sell out. We have a few more spots, 989-624-9349. I expect we will have Brad Dupuis of Angler Quest says he's going to join us. Bob Ransom of Primal Tree Stands says he's going to join us. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats is going to join us. And I think somebody from Brenton, USA is going to join us as well. We will be giving away an Angler Quest 8526 Pro Troll. We will be giving away a Brenton, USA 350 Legend. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, we're not giving away a boat. We're not giving away a gun. But we will be giving away some cool prizes. Craig, good morning. How are you, buddy? Kevin, nice to have you along with us. Lori says that number one more time, 989-624-9349. 989 area code, 624-9349. 624-9349. Call for reservations. So if I'm hearing this right, I will not close in the Saginaw River this spring. That's right, Scott. I forgot about that. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Nice to have you along with us. You are welcome, Lori. That's true. I forgot about that. Saginaw River will not close this spring, which is interesting because they used to close it under the guise of a spawning closure. Well, the fish are still spawning there, yet they decided not to close the river. And I can tell you that decision has not been popular across all parts of the DNR. Ruben, how are things in Colorado? Nice to have you with us. So we've got Nashville checking in with this morning. We've got Colorado checking in this morning. Pretty early out there in Colorado, isn't it, Ruben? Okay, so we're not giving away an Angler Quest, and we're not giving away a Brenton AR-15. What we will be giving away, Nick Grillo will have some Michigan brand products. We are giving away a Wraith 270 see-through ground blind from Primal Tree Stands. We'll have some hats. We'll have some hoodies and stuff to give away. Some, of course, really great meal from Dixie Dave. The netting needs to be decreased. Well, I'm not sure what area you're talking about, Scott, but I will tell you this whole consent decree negotiation process that we are involved in right now, we being the Sport Fishermen of Michigan, MUCC, DNR, and the tribal fishermen, in my opinion, is going south in a big hurry. Now, they can't tell us officially what's going on, but the information I am able to get out of those talks makes it certainly look like the sport anglers, are going to get the short end of the stick. Okay, Scott, you're talking about Saginaw Bay. Gotcha. There was a net on Saginaw Bay east of the island Summer. First time I've seen one there. Let me do a quick reconnect here. Okay, continue. Just want to make sure we don't lose accounts here. Hope I didn't just screw myself. No, I think we're good. Okay. Helen's checking in from the middle of Michigan. Yeehaw, she says. So yeah, the nets and tribal fishermen and consent decree negotiations are not going anywhere. Josh Mapes of Overdrive Outdoors, the guy who seems to attract big mature does, like he's the, what do you call that guy? Pat, what do you call the Dr. Doolittle? Yeah. Right? Okay. Pat, Josh, you are the Dr. Doolittle of mature doe hunting in Michigan. He's put down like 6 of those big old girls. I can't even shoot one, Josh. You got a freezer full of them. Good for you. And I love the way you pose those does. I love the stories you tell, and I love the respect that you show for the animals. Speaking of respect, and you'll see them. Just got to find a buck now, hey, Josh? Well, you got a lot of time yet. You'll notice if you go to my Facebook page and you look at the pictures on the Facebook page, it will become immediately obvious to you which pictures are good pictures and which pictures are not so good. 220 breakfast links and 85 brats made out of the last 2. You're going to be eating good this winter, Josh. You'll know right away. All right, thank you, Pat. Some of the pictures are nothing more than a documentation of a kill, and that's fine. But you'll see the animal laying on its side. You'll see the tongue hanging out. It looks like a cartoon character, right? Again, please, if you don't do anything else, take 1 second to push the animal's tongue back in its mouth. And you'll see them. Go to the page. You know what I'm talking about. You'll see pictures of somebody with a big smile holding a really nice buck, and the tongue is hanging out of the animal's mouth. It destroys the entire picture. Honestly, it does. So if you want a good example of how to pose an animal to show respect, Josh Mapes is one guy. You can look at his pictures and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Doug says, could you say that phone number one more time for Dixie Dave's last broadcast reservations? 989-624-9349. 989-624-9349. Okay, so what you want to do, I don't care if you show a little blood, right? Things are going to bleed when something dies. But if you got a pile of blood 3x3, why don't you drag the animal over a few feet and get him out of the blood? Maybe wipe off the mouth a little bit, maybe wipe off the animal a little bit. But more importantly, don't lay the animal on its side. I'm talking deer right now. Get the animal up on its haunches. Get those front legs underneath it so the head can be up. Hold the head up with respect. Push the damn tongue in the animal's mouth. That is the most important thing you can do, is push the animal's tongue back in its mouth. 989-624-9349. 989-624-9349 for Dixie Dave. Scott says, tag soup for me, at least for the rifle season. Me too, Scott, but keep in mind the season ain't over yet. We've got the muzzleloader season, which in much of the state is actually an extension of the firearm season. And you've got the late doe season, which is basically another extension of the firearm season. Details on that coming up in the first 2 segments. Check that. Segments 2 and 3 of hour number 1 in this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. Yeah, it'll be a good party down there because it'll be the last Wednesday night live we do at Oscar and Joey's. The last Wednesday night live, because Dixie Dave is retiring. That's next Wednesday night. The broadcast, the live stream, will start at 7 o'clock, as all of my Wednesday night lives do. I would encourage you to get there, to make your reservations for 6:15, 6:30 at the latest. Brian says he's watching from the stand right now. Brian, how's the wind? Well, I know how the wind is. Are the deer moving at all? Scott says the second rut is firing up. That is good news. All of the pictures we are getting, not all, 90% of the pictures we're getting on our trail cameras from our lease property are after dark, which of course doesn't do us a lot of good. In probably roughly a minute and a half or so, I'm going to have to change my Okay, 30 seconds out. In about a minute, I'm going to have to change my focus here. I'm not going to be able to talk directly to you. I'm not going to be able to answer your questions directly as I'm trying to right now, because we'll be switching our focus to record the first segment of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I'll still be here. The live stream will be going. You'll hear my voice. You'll see me. But I'm going to focus. I'm going to change from this microphone right here, my official social media microphone, to this microphone, the official broadcast microphone. Brian says a little spike is all he's seen so far. Scott says a lot of huge bucks in the middle of the night on his cameras. That's good, though, because it means they'll still be out there. You'll be late to Wednesday Night Live, but you'll be there. You're our official timekeeper. You've got to be. I did, Josh. You as well. Mad Jack, again, thanks for the picture of your daughter. That was a great picture, by the way. That was another good picture. All righty.
And we go in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
And that was a false start. We're going to try.
And I was just about to say, Pat's the only guy who fully appreciates my love for the countdown. All right, well, we got another minute, my friends, to talk here. Yeah, again, okay, so tonight on Wednesday Night Live at 7 o'clock, I will be in my home studio, my office at the house, but we will give away a Michigan brand ham for the holidays, courtesy of Nick Grillo and the Grillo family. Their website is michiganbrand.net. That's michiganbrand.net. All you have to do to win a ham is to join us. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to be anywhere. 8, 7,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, blast off.
There we go.
And I'll start my timer 8 seconds late. I'll do it 5. We'll be close enough. All right, my friends, have a good day. Try to stay out of the wind. Try to stay out of the cold. It's really surprisingly nasty out there right now. That wind is just brutal. Probably not a good day to go fishing. Probably a good day to just stay inside and get some work done. All right, here. So you might hear me talking about these next couple of minutes about how the fact that it's December. I know right now as you're watching me, it's not December. But when folks are listening to the radio show, it will be December. So it's not, I haven't gone off my rocker. Have a good day, my friends. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. Welcome to the month of December. December. Well, if October is Rocktober and November is Rutvember, what is December? Got to think about that one. Is it grind ember? By grind, I mean you're grinding it out. You're still out there in the tree stand, out there in the blind, still trying to put a deer down. And I'll ask you the question everybody asks me: did you get your deer? Because the firearm season is over now, right? The official 15-day Michigan firearm deer season is over. Did you get your deer? I didn't yet. Christmas coming up fast now, right? Wonderful time of year. Advent, the Christmas season. A lot of things to do with last end of the year stuff at work. A lot of parties. Getting together with friends. Getting together with your family to celebrate. It kind of wants to cut in the way of our outdoor passions and pursuits. But there's still a lot of time, right? For one thing, even though the firearm deer season is over, it really ain't over. Not anymore. Coming up here after the break, Lieutenant Jason Wickland of the DNR will be along with us to talk more about the details on this. But it used to be when firearm deer season closed, then you had the muzzleloader season, the black powder season. And it used to be just that, kind of a traditional season. And then the inline muzzleloaders came along, which changed the game a little bit because they had more accuracy, more reliability. and more distance. You could reach out a little farther. But now, these days, because the DNR wants us to kill more deer, they have extreme liberal seasons. And the muzzleloader season, in effect, isn't really a muzzleloader season in parts of the state at least. Lieutenant Wickland will have details on that. But where I live, I can hunt with my 350 Legend, my Brenton 350 Legend. At least that's my understanding. And Lieutenant Wickland will either agree or set me straight on that. But I can hunt the muzzleloader season with my 350 Legend. And then after that, I can hunt the late doe season with my 350 Legend. So it's basically what, a month-long firearm deer season now, at least in parts of the state. And I'm going to do whatever I can to fully take advantage of those opportunities. Because I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a deer in front of me yet this season that has presented me a shot. Not an adult deer. I'm not even going to say a mature deer, right? Because I hate this term. Well, he's a mature buck. Oh, listen, along that line, I had what I think was a very, very interesting conversation recently with David Blanton of Realtree. You know David. He's an icon in the outdoor industry. He's been involved in their TV show for 30 years. I had that conversation as part of the Primal Tree Stands podcast. If you go to primaltreestands.com, you can hear that conversation. David and I talk about this whole concept of how outdoor TV hunting shows have created unrealistic expectations for the average hunter. And David agrees. And he says he has changed his focus from shooting only true, mature trophy animals to a respectable, mature animal. Now, for him, a respectable, mature animal is bigger than you and I will ever shoot. But I find it interesting that a guy in his position of his status, with his experience and respect in the industry, says yes. The outdoor hunting shows have maybe not been the best influence, these are my words, not his, on everyday deer hunters. It might give us something to shoot for, pun intended, but it really does, they really don't create a realistic picture of what you and I are going to see when we go out into the Michigan whitetail woods. Anyway, keep a listen out for that. If you are tough enough and if the weather allows, and again, Toro Grosso talked about this temperature roller coaster, this weather roller coaster we were going to be on, and he was right. As we are sitting in the studio to record the show right now, low 30s, 30-mile-an-hour winds, gale warnings for Saginaw Bay. You wouldn't want to be out there. But the weekend forecast, at least when you hear this show, calls for much warmer. So if the weather will allow, there is some great fishing going on right now too. Of course, steelhead, our Michigan steelhead rivers offer great fishing right on through the entire winter. If you're tough enough and the rivers stay open, you can get out there and fish all winter long. And there's nothing cooler than being out on a steelhead stream when there's a foot of snow on the bank, but you've got open water and you're fishing for steelhead. That is so cool. Walleye fishing is just crazy right now. Lake Erie, of course, is on fire. Saginaw Bay on fire. Saginaw Bay, my home body of water. That's where I love to fish walleye. But I'm really jealous of the folks who are still out there right now. And it's my own fault. I could be out there too, but I'm not. The Angler Quest is gone. It's been put away for a long time. I spend the entire summer out there on Saginaw Bay chasing walleye that are 15 to 18 inches, and I'm just as happy as could be about it. I love it. But the folks who are out there right now are chasing fish that are 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. What a change that is. Now, you got to be tough, right? The water temps are low. The air temp is low. You got to be careful going out there because you don't want to have a You don't want to end up in the water when it's like this, right? But the rivers too. Now, I used to be a river rat. I used to spend my entire fall chasing walleye in the rivers. I wasn't deer hunting at the time. So every chance I had, I was on the Saginaw River or the Tittabawassee River, drifting the river, jigging for walleye. And they're in there right now, too. And even though I really don't have a river boat, there are places you can get access to the river and catch those fish from shore. Been thinking real seriously about that. With the success I'm having deer hunting, I'd be better off to go down to the river and throw some twister tails. So I know I might be getting back into that. What else is going on? This Wednesday coming up, Wednesday, December 7th. It'll be our last Wednesday Night Live in person at Dixie Dave's restaurant. Now, why is it our last? Because wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner is retiring after, 50 years in the 60 years, probably 55 years in the restaurant business. And Oscar and Joey's, his restaurant in Birch Run, is going to be closing down. It's being sold. There's not another restaurant coming in there. So this is one last final celebration of Dixie Dave's career and a big blowout party one last time. You can be a part of it. We will sell out. As I'm sitting here right now, we still have some openings. I think as you hear the radio show this weekend, we will still have some openings as well. How do you be a part of it? Call for reservations. I don't like giving out phone numbers, but I'm going to do it anyway. 989-624-9349. 989-624-9349. If you didn't get that, just do a Google search on Oscar and Joey's Roadhouse in Birch Run. The phone number is there. It doesn't cost you to get in, but you will need reservations. 989-624-9349. The Wednesday Night Live will start at 7 o'clock, as all of my Wednesday Night Lives do. I would encourage you to make your reservations for 6:15-ish, 6:30-ish at the latest. There's no cost to be a part of it, but you will have to buy your own dinner. I'm not buying dinner for a whole restaurant full of people. But you'll get a chance to see Dixie Dave. You'll get a chance to try his cooking one last time, unless, of course, you're going to the big Trinity, my church Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner in March. Dave's going to stick around for that. 989-624-9349. Call for reservations. Love to have you join us. It'll be a great party. All during the holiday season on Wednesday Night Lives, we give away a Michigan brand ham. All you have to do is tune in for that. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Wednesday Night Live show on my website, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Not on Instagram yet. We're still working on that. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I want to see your pictures. Send them to me. Celebrate your harvest. Celebrate your outdoor experience. Celebrate your outdoor adventure. And share it with the world. I'm doing a pretty good job on keeping up with the pictures coming into me. It might take me a little while to get to them, but I think I've done a pretty good job. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, Lieutenant Jason Wicklund from the DNR talking about the regulations on these late deer seasons, what you need to know, what you need to keep in mind to increase your chances of putting more venison in the freezer right here in the great state of Michigan. All right, my friends, have a good day. I'll see you tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a good day. Stay out of the wind.